If you walk into your local store this week to restock your pantry or pick up critical medical supplies, don't be surprised if you find a lock on the front door and brown paper covering the windows. Right now in 2026, we are witnessing the largest corporate collapse in modern American history. Over 8,000 major retail locations are locking their doors for good this year alone. We aren't just talking about overpriced mall clothing stores. We're talking about the exact pharmacies holding your essential medications, the discount pantries where you buy low-cost food, and the hardware outlets supplying your gear. When these 12 corporate giants vanish, they won't just leave empty parking lots. They're creating massive resource deserts across America. If you rely on local infrastructure for survival, you are running out of time. If you've been paying attention to the news lately, you know the economic grid is looking weaker by the day. High inflation, massive supply chain restructuring, and shifting consumer habits are tearing through corporate America like a freight train. For budget-conscious families and emergency preppers, this isn't just news, it's an early warning system. When major retailers go belly up, local supply lines fracture. Today, we're counting down 12 massive brands on the brink of extinction or undergoing total liquidation right now in 2026. Make sure you stick around for number 5 and number 2, because those closures will directly impact your ability to get medicine and emergency food. Let's dive in. Brand 1. Macy's, the death of the anchor storelets. Kick things off with a household name, Macy's. For over a century, Macy's was the absolute powerhouse of American retail, but right now they are in the middle of shuttering around 150 stores, slashing their total footprint by a massive third. Look, I know most preppers aren't heading to Macy's to stock up on freeze-dried meals or emergency gear, but here's the critical catch. Macy's is what real estate experts call an anchor store. They bring in the heavy foot traffic and keep the entire commercial district alive. When a giant like Macy's pulls out of a shopping center, the whole local ecosystem collapses like a house of cards. Surrounding strip malls go dark, property values plummet, and local security vanishes. Even worse, product distribution networks start bypassing your town entirely. Freight carriers reroute their supply trucks away from areas that no longer have high volume. It works just like losing a major support beam in a house. It doesn't just damage one room, it brings the entire roof crashing down on the neighborhood. When an anchor store vanishes, it creates a ghost town effect faster than people realize. Empty commercial buildings quickly turn into magnets for crime and suburban decay. That means your local area loses essential infrastructure, tax revenue, and neighborhood security overnight. You might not buy your emergency rice at Macy's, but its sudden downfall is the first domino in a very dangerous local economic chain reaction. Have you noticed your local mall or shopping center turning into a ghost town lately? Drop your town name and what store closures you're seeing in the comments below. Brand 2. Rite Aid and pharmacy giants, the birth of medical deserts. This next one should genuinely alarm anyone focused on health and emergency survival. Rite Aid went through massive bankruptcy proceedings, liquidating over 1,000 locations across the country. At the same time, major competitors like CVS and Walgreens have systematically shuttered hundreds of stores to cut operating costs. We are currently watching the rapid creation of pharmacy deserts across rural and suburban America. When a neighborhood pharmacy locks its doors for good, it isn't just an inconvenience. It completely cuts off direct access to life-saving prescription medications, medical-grade first aid gear, and daily health supplies. Instead of walking down the street, families now have to drive 45 minutes to an overcrowded regional hub. That is assuming the central location even has your prescription in stock. When regional supply chains get choked or fuel prices spike, those long drives become a massive risk. For emergency preppers, relying on a just-in-time medical supply chain is a dangerous game. When local drugstores vanish, independent local options rarely exist to fill the gap because big chains priced them out years ago. That leaves entire towns stranded without basic medical resources. If you depend on daily medication or maintain a home emergency trauma kit, this trend is a serious warning sign. Talk with your primary care doctor about securing multi-month prescription refills and build up your over-the-counter medical stash before your local store goes dark. Have you experienced pharmacy closures or unexpected prescription delays in your local town recently? Let me know what you are seeing in your area by leaving a comment below. Brand 3. Jo-Ann Fabrics, the textile and repair crisis now. You might hear Jo-Ann Fabrics and immediately picture craft lovers buying yarn or holiday decor. But if you look deeper, this total store liquidation hits right at the core of self-reliance and local gear repair. Following massive financial debt and inventory shortages, JOIN initiated full liquidation of all 800 locations nationwide. Think about where people go when they need heavy-duty canvas, flame-retardant threads, thermal insulation padding, or replacement outdoor hardware. JOIN was the main nationwide brick-and-mortar source for raw textiles and heavy repair gear. Online shops exist, but they cannot give you immediate access to tactile materials when a winter storm blows out your shelter tarps or rips open your pack. When specialized fabric hubs vanish, your community's ability to mend essential gear, build custom covers, or insulate living spaces takes a major hit. You are left relying on slow shipping times or cheap overseas imports that might not survive harsh conditions. Losing a raw materials supplier means losing a primary layer of local self-sufficiency. It shows how fragile our domestic textile supply really is when a single major retailer collapses. Without physical store inventory nearby, maintaining, repairing, and customizing your emergency gear gets 10 times harder. Have you noticed a lack of heavy-duty fabrics or craft repair supplies in your city lately? Write your observations in the comments. Brand 4. Big Lots, the budget prepper's pantry snapped for families trying to stretch $1 and build an emergency pantry. Big Lots was an absolute goldmine. But after severe financial distress, the discount giant entered Chapter 11 bankruptcy and began liquidating hundreds of locations across the United States. Big Lots served as a crucial outlet for closeout groceries, low-cost canned goods, water storage containers, and affordable home supplies. You could walk into a location with $50 and walk out with enough shelf-stable food to boost your household security for weeks. Now that budget-friendly lifeline is snapping shut for millions of Americans. When closeout outlets shutter, budget-conscious shoppers are forced directly into major big-box grocery chains. That means paying full retail prices that are 30 to 40% higher for the exact same survival basics. It places immediate economic pressure on fixed-income families who are already struggling under steep price hikes. As these discount doors close, localized food security drops while household grocery bills skyrocket. Losing access to low-cost bulk food forces families to make tough choices between filling their emergency pantry or paying daily bills. Are you seeing local closeout or discount grocery stores closing down in your area? Let me know how prices are hitting your local pantries down in the comments. Brand 5. GameStop, the death of physical tech and barter. GameStop was once the absolute king of physical video games and gaming tech. But right now, the company is shutting down nearly 500 physical store locations across the United States. They have slashed hundreds of stores every single year as digital downloads completely take over. For emergency preppers, this massive collapse carries a quiet but serious warning. GameStop's demise marks the final death of physical media, offline entertainment, and local tech hardware hubs. When physical electronics and software stores disappear, everything moves to the digital cloud. Think about what happens if the power grid goes down, internet connections fail, or regional infrastructure freezes. You lose instant access to digital downloads, online reference guides, and cloud storage. Physical assets like paper manuals, hard copy maps, and offline media are the only things that keep working during a real crisis. When stores like GameStop vanish, your ability to trade or barter physical tech in your local community completely dries up. It forces us to rely entirely on an internet connection that could fail at any moment. Have you noticed your local electronics or game stores shutting down recently? Let me know in the comments if you still keep physical copies of important media. Brand 6. Sportsman's Warehouse, the outdoor gear squeeze. This next closure hits straight to the heart of the outdoor and survivalist community. Sportsman's Warehouse has faced heavy financial pressure and is closing underperforming locations across the country as consumer spending drops. When major hunting, fishing, and outdoor supply chains start closing their doors, it tells you a lot about the health of the economy. Families are cutting back on high-end survival gear, water purification systems, and camping supplies just to afford daily necessities like food and gas. Losing specialized outdoor stores leaves a massive hole in your local emergency prep line. These stores aren't just selling fishing lures, they are local hubs for thermal clothing, emergency water treatment, outdoor fuel, and field gear. When these regional outfitters vanish, you are forced to order your gear online. That leaves you at the mercy of shipping delays, inventory shortages, and rising delivery fees right when you need supplies the most. Have you seen price hikes or inventory shortages on hunting and camping gear in your local stores lately? Drop your observations in the comments below. Brand 7. Casual dining giants, the food and dining squeeze. It isn't just retail and clothing stores feeling the heat right now. Sitting down for a casual meal at your favorite neighborhood restaurant is becoming a luxury of the past. Major casual dining chains like Red Robin and Bloomin' Brands, the parent company behind Outback Steakhouse, have quietly closed dozens of underperforming locations nationwide. Rising operational costs, surging ingredient prices, and shrinking consumer wallets are forcing these massive restaurant groups to trim the fat. When a $20 burger and a $30 steak replace an affordable family night out, foot traffic drops off a cliff. Middle-class families are cutting back on dining out simply to keep up with their monthly utility bills and grocery costs. Why should this concern you from a preparedness standpoint? Because it is a massive indicator of widespread economic strain. When sit-down dining collapses, it proves that the average consumer has completely run out of discretionary income. Restaurant closures leave huge empty commercial spaces, fire local kitchen staff, and strain regional food distributors. When regional food distributors lose major restaurant contracts, the cost of moving food around the country goes up for everyone else. That shipping squeeze trickles straight down to your local grocery store shelves in the form of higher prices and smaller selections. It is clear evidence that the consumer economy is operating in survival mode. Have you noticed your favorite sit-down restaurants shutting down or raising menu prices in your town? Let me know what you are seeing in your local area by leaving a comment below. Brand 8, Express and Mall Apparel, the essential textile shift mall culture, is officially on life support, and popular clothing chains are paying the ultimate price. Express filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection, shutting down over 100 store locations alongside its entire line of Up West stores. At the same time, other mall staples like Forever 21 and Tilly's are quietly trimming down their store footprints across the country. It is easy to look at mall fashion and write it off as superficial. But when major apparel distributors collapse, the ripple effects hit the broader textile supply chain hard. A shrinking retail market means less domestic production of heavy-duty workwear, thermal base layers, and weather-resistant clothing. When local clothing stores vanish, your ability to walk into a shop and buy durable, cold-weather clothing disappears with them. You are forced to buy clothing online without testing the fit, material quality, or durability first. During severe weather emergencies or grid failures, having high quality. Physical clothing layers is just as critical as having stored food. Relying on cheap, fast fashion imports that fall apart after 3 washes leaves your household completely vulnerable when real winter weather hits. As these mall mainstays disappear, local options for basic physical textiles dry up rapidly. Have you noticed a drop in clothing store options or a spike in the cost of basic workwear in your city? Write your observations down in the comments below. Brand 9. AMC Theaters, the entertainment infrastructure shift. When people think about emergency preparedness, movie theaters rarely cross their minds. But the commercial theater industry has been forced into massive restructuring, with AMC quietly closing over 200 underperforming locations across its network to manage heavy operational debts. When massive movie complexes lock their doors for good, they rapidly turn into multi-acre suburban ghost towns. These huge abandoned properties drain local tax revenue, drag down surrounding commercial real estate values, and attract local decay. For surrounding communities, losing large entertainment anchors is another early warning sign of weakening economic infrastructure. When commercial real estate defaults pile up, local banks take heavy hits and municipal budgets get squeezed. That directly leads to fewer tax dollars for local police, fire departments, and emergency road repairs. On top of that, the downfall of physical cinema highlights the mass migration toward purely digital entertainment. If the power grid suffers a blackout or streaming networks go offline, millions of households will find themselves completely cut off from digital media. Keeping offline physical entertainment, hard copy reference books, and manual board games is essential for keeping up morale during an extended power outage. Are you seeing local movie theaters or large entertainment centers closing down in your town? Let me know what you are noticing in your area by leaving a comment below. Brand 10. Family Dollar and Dollar Tree severing rural lifelines, this next closure directly threatens localized food security across thousands of small towns. Dollar Tree and Family Dollar have shuttered hundreds of underperforming locations nationwide as part of a massive multi-year retail restructuring. For millions of rural Americans, dollar chains are not just a place to buy cheap knickknacks. In many small communities, these stores are literally the only grocery and household supply shop within a 30-mile radius. When a small town Family Dollar locks its doors for good, it creates an instant food and supply vacuum. Without a local dollar store, residents are forced to make long, expensive drives just to buy basic necessities like toilet paper, cleaning products, and canned foods. It leaves elderly residents, low-income families, and rural preppers completely stranded without an affordable local safety net. When discount options disappear, families are forced to absorb higher gas costs and inflated big box grocery prices. It shows how fragile rural supply chains really are when a single major retail chain decides to pull out of a town. Building up a deep household pantry before your local discount store closes is one of the smartest moves you can make. Brand 11. Carter's the next-gen supply fracture when preparing for emergencies. Many people focus on adult gear and forget how fast kids grow. That is why the massive restructuring at Carter's, America's largest baby and children's clothing retailer, is a huge red flag. The company announced plans to shutter roughly 150 locations as lease terms expire, cutting over 10% of its total physical footprint. Rising tariffs, elevated product costs, and shrinking profit margins have hit the children's apparel market hard. For parents and grandparents building an emergency supply cushion, losing local specialty outfitters creates immediate headaches. Children outgrow boots, jackets, and thermal layers every single season. When physical stores close, finding durable, affordable children's clothes locally becomes 10 times harder. You are forced to order online, paying high shipping fees and risking size mismatch. In a winter emergency or sudden disruption, having the wrong size thermal gear for a growing child is a major safety risk. Relying on just-in-time online deliveries for basic children's wear leaves young families exposed when regional supply networks slow down. As specialty kids' stores vanish, local access to winter coats and heavy footwear dries up quickly. Have you noticed higher prices or fewer options when shopping for children's clothes in your area lately? Let me know in the comments below. Brand 12. Sears, the final breath of a retail giant. We close out our list with the ultimate cautionary story of American retail, Sears. Once the undisputed giant where you could order an entire kit house, heavy appliances, and domestic hand tools out of a paper catalog, Sears has collapsed to a tiny fraction of its former self. Across the entire United States, only a handful of Sears department stores remain open today. The final disappearance of Sears marks the end of an era built on American-made durability and local self-reliance. Decades ago, Sears was where families bought long-lasting tools, water pumps, heating equipment, and tough workwear designed to survive a lifetime. Today, we have traded that lasting quality for cheap imported plastic goods that break after minimal use. When local hardware and department store anchors vanish, communities lose access to high-grade tools and homesteading supplies. If global trade lines freeze or import costs skyrocket, replacing broken homestead tools becomes an expensive nightmare. Sears' quiet extinction is a final warning that our modern retail ecosystem prioritizes disposable goods over long-term survival equipment. Without local physical stores stocking heavy-duty tools, maintaining your home or repairing critical equipment during a grid failure falls squarely on what you already own today. Did you grow up buying tools or gear from Sears? And have you noticed a decline in tool quality at modern stores? Share your thoughts down in the comments. The collapse of these 12 retail giants proves that our traditional physical shopping safety net is fraying at the seams. We are no longer just dealing with normal market competition. We are watching a massive structural overhaul of how goods, foods, and essential medical supplies reach American neighborhoods. When anchor stores, discount pantries, and local pharmacies close down simultaneously, just-in-time supply chains turn into localized resource deserts overnight. Relying entirely on a smooth delivery system or nearby big box stores is becoming a major liability for everyday households. The best time to prepare for an unexpected closure or local supply shortage is while the stores in your town are still open. Take control of your home pantry, build up your emergency medical supplies, and invest in durable, physical tools that do not depend on an active internet connection or a distant warehouse. Call to action if this deep dive gave you a fresh perspective on the economy. Please smash that like button. It helps spread this critical warning to more families who need to prepare. Subscribe to the channel and ring the notification bell so you never miss our urgent economic updates and emergency preparedness guides. Now, I want to hear directly from you. What store closures, price hikes, or unusual shortages have you personally observed in your town recently? Share your city and your local observations in the comments below. Stay vigilant, keep prepping, and I will see you in the next video.